Hey, what's going on YouTube? Aaron here, and this is a response video for Playboy Orlando. And I tried to see your Woo TV thing, but I didn't see that. At least when I look it up, I came across like a commercial, from 1986 for Inspector Gadget or Inspector Gadget commercial break, which actually wasn't a bad break. It had me added to my favorites because it was like a throwback. Being that I'm an '83 baby, I remember '86 barely, but I do remember when Whitney Houston came out. I don't remember when she came out. I mean, I was like a year and a half old, but I do remember when How Will I Know was out. How will I know? Okay, anyway, this is the micro vlog and this is a response video. Do you think ugly people should be picky? You're harsh for that question. That's ouch. Because I was like, wow, you went there. But what it reminded me of was from college when I took a class called and I scratched so much, but whatever. When I took a class called General Social Psychology, and one thing that we discussed in that class was the fact that people naturally and subconsciously attract themselves to people that they can actually obtain or attain. I don't know which one, obtain or attain. Anyway, but people are subconsciously hardwired to attract themselves to people they can actually obtain. And that's a natural human thing because we as human beings don't like rejection. For example, like I'll talk with some of my friends about people I find attractive, and I don't know. I guess I have unique taste compared to everybody in the world. But anybody who I'm like, I find that person to be so attractive, they're like, ill? Like, are you kidding me? But, that's just, those are certain traits that I like. Well, I mean, there are certain traits that I like in people, and it might not be consistent with what everybody else feels is attractive, but that's just me. And, again, with human beings being hardwired to attract themselves to people who they can actually obtain or attain. I'm just going to pick one. Attain. Obtain. Obtain. There we go. I'm just going to say obtain. That is why, I don't want to just drone on and on. But yeah, people are attracted to people who they can obtain. So, as far as ugly people, sorry, as far as ugly people not being picky, when it comes to dating, I feel as though everyone has a right to date someone who they are attracted to, not just physically, but also mentally. So where I'm going with that is, you say, should ugly people be picky? Is the person attractive to them mentally and just because someone's considered, because there are, I'll use myself as the example. There are plenty of people who I'll look at and I'll be like, oh, well, I can tell that they're conventionally attractive, so everybody probably would find them, or most people would probably find them very attractive, but not me. I'm just not attracted to them. Which also reminds me of another thing that's really interesting that we discussed in that same class. With people not attracting themselves to people, with people being hardwired to not attract themselves to people who they don't feel they can obtain, I think I worded that correctly. That also means that people who are very, 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 very attractive often end up single because nobody feels that they're on that person's level, so they often won't even try. So that's also why sometimes you'll see like this really, really attractive, like, ooh, that's a fox, with somebody who's like, ew, really? Wow, you must have a lot of money. that might be one of the reasons, but it also might be because of the fact that's the person who actually took the time to approach that really, really attractive person like a regular human being. And that really, really attractive person perhaps was deep enough to see the beauty in that person's personality. So it kind of works both ways. That's an interesting point. Wow, this is going to be, well, it's not going to be a long video, but it's longer than I wanted it to be. But so yeah, I'm trying to do the whole microblogging thing, vlogging, whatever. But yeah, those are two really important points. One, people don't attract themselves to people who they don't feel they can obtain. It's a natural human trait that we are hardwired to not attract ourselves to people we don't feel we can obtain. Oh, wow, I'm really just talking through this here. That might be why that person or those people or whatever who you think, or not necessarily you personally, but who the people in this example that we have, when we say ugly people, you should just take what you can get, that might be part of the reason that the ugly person is not attracted to that person, because they don't feel that they can obtain them anyway. So they subconsciously are not attracted to those features in somebody. They're looking for something different. And I know that's how I roll. Because like I said, I know there are people who, like, I'll talk to some of my friends and they'll be like, oh man, that person is that is a fox, yo. But I'll be like, no. And I'm not saying that I'm unattractive or that I'm a horrible looking person, so I can only attract myself to people who are fellow horrible looking people. I mean, that's not the case, but I'm just not attracted to what's considered conventionally most attractive by most people. But that's just me. And that's how a brother's got to be. Stay kicking game with a capital G. As the people's on my block, I'm as real as can be. Word is bond. Making moves never been my thing. So Teddy, pass the word to your brother Chauncey. I'll be sending the call to say around 3:30. No diggity, no doubt. Did I just show my age? I think I was 13 years old when that song came out. I'm an 83 baby. 29. Last year in my 20s. So anyway, wow, this is a really long video to answer your question. I apologize. But yeah, so I think that's it. So that's why I'm just doing a personal summary. People attract themselves to people who they find most attractive. I mean, people attract themselves to people who they feel they can obtain. And that's who they find most attractive. It's a subconscious thing to attract yourself to people who you can actually obtain, one. Two, people have a right to not attract themselves to somebody who's going to treat them like an a-hole, or somebody who's going to treat them like, I'm so attractive that you should be thankful to be with me. People have a right to not do that, because that's some bullcrap, and that's just going to have them in an unfortunate abusive relationship, be it just mentally and physically abusive. So they have a right to not attract themselves to somebody who's going to be like, you're lucky to be with me, you ugly trollop. Like, people have a right to that. And three, sometimes the most attractive people end up single, or are single for extended periods of time, because of the fact that nobody approaches them, because everybody is busy looking for people on their level, and they feel as though that person is above their level. So nobody approaches that person, except that one person who everybody would be like, oh, you are so, like, how did, and that one person will get through and take the time to approach, because I guess some people just don't mind rejection. Oh my gosh, okay, anyway, that's another video. But anyway, some people don't mind, and some people will just take a chance, and some people are just nice, period. So you also have that. So even though, people don't aim for people on their level necessarily, or people on different levels from them necessarily, there are also people who are just nice to everybody and just have that warm spirit that's attractive. That reminds me of that episode of Family Guy where Brian and Stewie went in. It was the episode that Meg was like sold into sex slavery, and Brian and Stewie went in, and they saw, oh my gosh, it's Meg's hat. And then they asked the girl, and she was like, do you know the girl who had that hat? Could you describe her? Like what she looked like? She was like, she had a wonderful personality. And they were like, that's Meg. That show is hilarious. Anyway, okay. 10 minutes is more than enough time. So I think that's it. Yeah. 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 All right. I hope I covered everything. Peace. Be blessed.